I can't think of a more uneventful year for game releases. Seriously, I've been waiting for a new title that I could sink my teeth into, and Outriders fits this perfectly. Looter shooters are like crack to me, so you know where my bias lies. PeopleCanFly previously made Bulletstorm, a game that I've never played but I know was praised for its fun gameplay loop. Outriders is one of the most repetitive games I have ever played, but feck me that I enjoy every single second of it. Action RPGs, looter shooters, any game that involves a lot of action and loot are right up my alley. I love Torchlight and Borderlands, and I even had fun with Godfall. Outriders is the latest in the genre, and it creates an amazing gameplay loop but lacks in some other areas. So let's talk about the great parts, the middling parts, and the not so good parts. If you want more content about a variety of games on every platform, then please subscribe. I'm aiming for 1k subscribers by the end of May, so I would love some help to reach that goal. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't a live service game. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed The Division and Destiny. Feckin' hell, I even gave Marvel Avengers a good review because I genuinely had fun with it, but I categorically prefer this model. Similar to what Borderlands does, Outriders has a main campaign filled with side missions and an endgame that does have an end in sight. There are two reasons why I prefer this model. Firstly, having an ending is good for my brain. I don't know why, but I get overwhelmed by Destiny, especially now that I haven't played in years, and I feel a boat is too far out for me to go back. I can see myself playing another run of Outriders, doing some endgame, then hopping out until DLC. If I did the same with Destiny, I would feel like I missed way too much. Secondly, this point is more specific to games with PvP, but Outriders doesn't need to be as well balanced. I remember the days of the B shield and the conference call in Borderlands 2, and while it was nerfed, the OPness of the build really didn't matter because of the lack of real PvP. Now that we've established that Outriders are more like Borderlands and Destiny, now let me tell you how it's actually more like a third-person Torchlight or Diablo rather than Borderlands. In Borderlands you have one skill, and in Diablo you have as many as you can fit on the hotbar. In Outriders you can have up to 3 skills equipped at once, meaning you're never too far away from the skill being off cooldown. It gives the gameplay a frantic feeling that feels so cool. I played the Pyromancer, and at one stage I was setting my enemies on fire with a chain fire attack, igniting my bullets so they deal fire damage, and then hurt all the enemies around me with a fire blast. And it doesn't stop there. My weapon would inflict slow on the enemies, and after they stop burning they turn to ash, immobilizing them for a few seconds. It becomes hectic fast, and it's such a satisfying gameplay loop. Okay, let's bring it back to basics. Outriders is a typical third-person shooter. Think of budget Gears of War with skills and a loot system. Guns feel okay to shoot. Automatic weapons felt the worst, but the snipers and shotguns felt good. The two biggest issues with the gameplay are the cover systems and the level design. Unfortunately, Outriders doesn't inherit the cover system from Gears. There were a few times where I died trying to get in and out of cover, and it was a bit frustrating. It didn't take pointers from one of the strongest points of Gears gameplay, but it inherited every single inch of its level design. Every level has little bits of walls or boxes conveniently placed so you know exactly where the combat is going to be. PeopleCanFly certainly could have done better here, but once I was in combat, me thinking about the level design goes out the window, and instead I just get bet into blowing people's heads off. And I'm only further distracted because of the loot system. The balance here is great. I never felt like I was in the menus for too long because of the amount of loot I picked up, but I also never felt like I wasn't being rewarded for my time. Another minor gripe is the skill tree. It's just a typical 5% increased damage or minus 10% cooldown, with a few small unique abilities. This isn't too big an issue for me, and I know some people hate these skills and I can understand it. Now, I've never seen a compelling alternative to this system in an action RPG. If you know of any, I would love to try them out, so let me know. One great thing about the skill tree is that you can respec at any time in the menu at no cost, so I was constantly experimenting with different builds, and I think every action RPG should have this system. Before I talk about the worst part of the game, let's talk about my favourite, and that is the world tiers. Think of this as Ultimate Vault Hunter mode in Borderlands 2, but you can change it on the fly. There are 15 world tiers, which are essentially the difficulty. I managed to get to world tier 8 so far, and the game ramps up very quickly, and I can see the later difficulties needing a team of well coordinated people to fight bosses, and I can't wait to jump into them more. I'll probably do another video about the endgame in the future. Now, the story is pretty bad. Characters are completely uninteresting, dialogue is cheesy and poorly delivered, but I don't think in an ironic way, and the cutscenes are extremely janky. This doesn't bother me at all because I just wanted as little distraction from the gameplay as possible. If you're looking for an interesting narrative and characters, then do not buy this game. If I was to compare this to Diablo 3 and Borderlands 2, those two games are better as a whole, but Outriders gameplay blows these two out of the water based on fun factor alone. It doesn't try to bring new people in, rather it creates a compelling experience for loot junkies, and I just can't put it down. Yes, it feels like a PS3 game in its design sometimes, and its story is bad, but I genuinely didn't care. I just couldn't stop playing it. There we have Outriders. I would love to know what you think of the game in the video. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next video.